Before history, before humanity, the world was a garden. But the garden began to die. The water vanished. The earth cracked. Then the sky turned against them. A fire from below choked out the sun. Fear is an old instinct, but this was something new. This was the end. To stay was to perish, and so the first great journey began. A fragile line of life, walking away from the only home they had ever known, into a hostile void, walking into the unknown, carrying the seed of the future. Then the light died completely, and the sky turned against us. The earth became a trap. The ash turned to stone, and the stone turned to soup. We fell, we broke, but we did not leave the fallen behind. So we climbed, we clawed our way up until our hands bled. We climbed until there was no earth left to climb. And there, at the roof of the world, in the heart of the dark, we saw the fire. And we began the descent. The descent was not falling, it was a return to the earth. The sharp stone turned to soft soil. The cold air turned to breath. We walked through the veil, and the world changed. Here the fire did not burn us, it lived with us. We remembered what it was to feel without pain. The water was not bitter, it was life. We stopped, not because we fell, but because we were home. And for the first time in an age, we slept. The darkness did not last forever. When the sun returned, it found us. We found strength in the roots. We found life in the water. We learned that touch was not just for survival, it was for peace. The stone was no longer an enemy, it became a tool. The little ones would not know the dust, they would know the warmth. We were no longer wanderers, we were watchers. This garden was ours, a place to heal. And here, the first seed of history was planted.
We did not just hide from the wind, we built against it. The fire was a beast that we learned to feed. The wood became a fang, the stone became a claw. We gave what we knew to those who would follow. We looked up and wondered what watched us. We left our mark on the stone. I was here. The silence was filled with our voices, and time began to move.
Generations faded like mist, but the tribe did not. The circle grew. We followed the rivers that carved the land like veins. We pushed outward, testing the edges of the map. We met others, shadows in the tall grass, faces like ours, but eyes filled with different storms. Not all hands were open. We learned that the spear could protect, but it could also take. The silence was gone, replaced by the clash of bone and wood. The world was no longer just a garden or a trap. It was a kingdom, and we were fighting to be its architects. We looked at the stars and saw not just light, but a destination. The hunger of the belly was quieted, but a new hunger began, a hunger of the mind. We left our mark on the stone, a promise that we were here, that we mattered. We gave the red earth to the dead. We did not leave them to the carrion. We gave them sleep. The fire whispered secrets. We danced not for rain, but to catch the shadows. We found beauty in the bone, a necklace of teeth, a crown of feathers. We looked into the water and saw a stranger who was also us. We were no longer just beasts. We were becoming the dreamers of the waking world. The sounds we made became more than just noise. They became names. We gave a voice to the invisible. We named the wind. We named the fear. We named the child. With the word came the bond. We were no longer separate fires. We were one great blaze. But the world does not stand still. The air grew sharp again. The green turned to gray. The birds fled south. The easy days were over. The garden was closing its gates. We had to choose again, to hide in the earth or to face the storm. We chose the storm. We chose to walk. The fire was left behind, fading into the white. The cold had teeth. It bit through the skin, through the bone. But the blood was warm, and the will was iron. We did not walk alone. When the earth ended, we became the bridge. Through the wall of ice, we saw the morning, a new garden waiting. Not given, but earned. The seed survived. We are the travelers. We are the survivors. This is Earth Unseen.